Dictator Donald Trump has fled the war-torn capital with his orange wispy tail tucked between his thighs and is currently being comforted by barely legal blonde Eastern European girls as he eats shrimp cocktail in the MAGA outpost of Florida. His Eminence Blow Jiden was sworn in with a gigantic copy of, quote, the Bible, which is no doubt bound in human leather, alongside his VP, Kamala Harris. VP, which stands for Vagina President. We're here in the Psychedelic Timeshare, watching it all unfold. I'm Mark Question.
And I'm Ian Benwees.
And this is The Lizard People Strike Back.
It was totally true. Mark was just attacked by the cat. I don't know. The cat's got a side gig doing censorship.
Along with big tech, looms in the darkness.
So there's so much to talk about, Mark. So much to talk about today.
Where do we begin?
Start? Yeah.
I guess it didn't all, the QAnon, Donald Trump's ace up his sleeve, lock them all up last minute, operation. Shockingly,
the Hail Mary?
We were all shocked today when that didn't go down.
No. Yes, although there's still claims, right, that actually it was Donald Trump that was inaugurated. A little face-off.
Yes, while wearing a cloned skin of Joe Biden.
Got it, yeah.
Twist.
So,
M. Night Shyamalan ending.
So our very first podcast, Mark, started off with the coronavirus, really kind of helped get us launched, and we were able to have the coronavirus on as a special guest. And, of course, now we, use the proper name COVID-19 or one of the variants. So what's the COVID context to start our show back off here?
Well, before, when we first started, we had just barely met COVID, but now I feel like we're both intimately acquainted with
apparently so, according to some of the latest medical technology. Yeah, yours truly was invited last minute to go to the Joe Rogan and Dave Chappelle show down at Stubbs here in Austin, and the tickets were sold by groups. So if you showed up there and anyone in your group had a positive test, which they did on the spot, they would send your whole group home and refund your money. So I thought the only decent thing to do was go get a test before I met and hooked up with my friends, and I did find out that I was positive, and then the fairy tale goes from there.
So how are you feeling since you've had multiple tests at this point?
I've had the nose swab antigen test and the mouth swab antibody test, and both were positive.
You look okay to me.
Yeah, I'm definitely not dying. And the big challenge, you can't figure out who you got it from because, it's so infectious and contagious that my son, going back to college, tested positive for it. But then other members of my family who he'd been living with the whole time didn't, along with his girlfriend and all of his friends. So it's very hard to sort out where he got it.
Publicly shame them when you can't figure out who gave it to you.
Exactly. Exactly. So, and now, the studies are showing that the virus can stay alive on plastic or glass for up to 7 days. So that would mean then the likely really key transmission points are all those door handles on gas stations and any other, convenience stores, any businesses that people go into. So I don't know how you stop that one. Somebody has to stand there and spray the thing every 20 seconds, or
I can't even. I can't
exactly.
eat.
It's like a COVID hole is worse than a K hole, apparently. You can't, once you fall in a COVID hole, you never fully get out.
And you lose all direction, all sense of smell.
Yeah, once you lose your sense of smell and taste, you never remember how to do it the same way again. No, I've not lost my sense of taste or smell, although they've been down-regulated, but it's impossible to tell if that's because it's cold outside and everything else that's going on. So,
Well, aside from your recent COVID diagnosis, and I'm glad you're doing okay, what's going on in your world?
well, we have a new president, so everyone who engages in the popularity contest of the presidency every 4 years and think that that's civic engagement is voting in the election and then watching the inauguration. I'm very interested to see how this next 4 years is going to go, and definitely ending the war on drugs is the thing that I'm most focused on and care about. So I'm interested to see how Joe Biden is going to give us the free weed, since Donald didn't pull out that Trump card.
Ball.
Yeah, well, he didn't pull out the Trump card, man. Weed would have been called Trump, but it's not going to happen. So,
what did he accomplish that he was, out of all the Donald promises? There was the wall.
Yeah.
There was
we got seesaws.
lock up Hillary and
Didn't
swamp
happen.
training.
No, he just took care of it. Everyone can lobby the 5-year ban they self-imposed.
The
on the way out.
lobbying is back.
But I think the big one is that since Reagan, there are no new wars,
Amen.
and that's and he did start a trade war, and I think those are these days preferable to military wars, because the military wars just go on forever. The trade wars, they come to some sort of equalization usually. In the past, they'd be followed by real wars, but hopefully we don't have to do that anymore. So
he starts the trade war, and then China starts the virus war, or is that what they want you to think?
Yeah, I think it's really interesting, right? That every company wants to get you on a subscription model, and we're talking about getting updates, to viruses. We're talking about getting, patches and upgrades, and that's what all these tech companies want to do. So
Yeah, is your body running a little slow and wonky?
exactly. That's why you need to upgrade to. Yeah.
You need to get the new vaccine. You're running on old.
Exactly. Once
update.
they get it in there, exactly.
Pop-up ads inside your.
That's exactly how it goes. Once they get in there on the healing part, then they're going to sell you on the human potential. No, you're good now, but wouldn't you like a little step up? Wouldn't you? Yeah. I know what we can talk about, Mark. Why don't we talk about the fact that Mexico is about to have legal cannabis, according to the Supreme Court's guidance to their Congress, their lower house, that they have to have a legal program by late April, which they just made their medical program live, I think within the past week, right? So, what does that mean for the U.S.?
That we're not leading the world in innovation or ethics. Or
But I thought this was the point of the wall. We wanted to keep the Mexicans and their marijuana out of the U.S., right?
For Mexico's biggest issue in my mind has been the just infinite government corruption, which is tied into the cartels, which is tied into the drug war.
Yeah.
Exactly. So
Exactly.
if they start getting this out of the way, Mexico might be the new old-fashioned United States.
I think so. Like what year? The 70s? The what decade? The 70s?
The United States back when you could get cocaine and Coca-Cola.
Oh, that's really taking the time machine quite far back. I don't know if we want to go that far back, but yeah. And all the other medicines are legal there as well under the Supreme Court's ruling that personal drug use of any kind in Mexico is constitutional. So
I remember when we first met down in Mexico City at the Bufo Congress. One of
not a boofing Congress, folks.
yeah,
A bufo.
Bufo,
Bufo.
the toad, Bufo
BUFO.
One of my Mexican friends, who was just an Instagram friend until I met him in person, but he was saying that a lot of the new cabinet coming in government was a lot of people that are involved in working with medicine, and that they were, and some people were saying they had been giving a lot of the cartel had been kind of waking up with some toad experiences or ayahuasca or this or that.
Got it. So Timothy Leary was right, or Graham Hancock, the taking ayahuasca 10 times before office. If you have enough people do that, you're going to have a more enlightened leadership. Yeah, and I remember hearing
just imagining what is it, Joe Biden on ayahuasca.
Oh, God. No, you don't want to give him MDMA because he's going to be giving you a back massage all night long.
He will give you a shoulder rub, smell your hair.
You'll just fall in love. Yeah, I think, yeah.
I feel like I would be safe not having enough hair for him to sniff.
Oh, boy. So, yeah, so what's the future of these medicines in the United States, Mark? You know,
we had a big victory in what was it, Oregon, pretty much decriminalized across the board.
Yeah, all drugs for the whole state. So, and
now that doesn't mean that they won't send the National Guard against you because of federal laws, right? I think we saw that in California under Obama.
Oh, sure. Yeah, sure. Around cannabis. You're saying, yeah,
right.
When the scheduling's still there, you always have the threat of the federal government enforcing actions against those people. And that's the whole, office of the AG, the Attorney General, right? Kind of like decrim deciding what to prioritize and what not. So I think there's already so much money now that people are smelling around cannabis and psychedelics that the money drives everything. And so I don't see that getting put back in the bottle. Canada's got, medical cannabis, right? And recreational, and they're talking about decrimming psychedelics to deal with the opiate crisis. And Mexico has all these medicines legal, so it seems like it's inevitable here in the U.S. And now the people are trying to make money at it. That'll, accelerate it even faster.
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of Silicon Valley is investing in psychedelic therapies, companies that are involved with this sort of thing.
Yeah, you've got companies that more than one have extracted the DNA from mushrooms that make psilocybin or the cannabis plant that makes THC and inserted that into yeast. So once you have that culture, as long as you have the food for the yeast and bacteria, basically sugar, that are breaking it down, everyone could brew those things in their kitchen. That's the future that's coming. Well, I guess it's really already here.
It'll feel more here when I get a hold of that culture and start making some THC kombucha. Yeah,
just don't do like that guy who injected his mushroom tea into his bloodstream and then the mushrooms grew inside there.
98.6 was a perfect temperature to culture some mycelium in your veins.
Yeah. So the thing to remember is once you get the culture on you, though, it never leaves. So once you grow the THC kombucha in your kitchen and in the psilocybin kombucha, it's your friend forever.
Did you hear if this guy survived this?
He died. He had multiple organ failure. It's really sounds like a horrible way to go out.
Yeah. So kids at home, do not inject mushroom tea into your. Don't mainline the mushroom.
That's
tea.
right. Put it in another box, make the mushroom, and then go from there.
Just drink the tea. If you really want to get creative, you could boof the tea. Wait, no, don't boof the tea.
Wait. Oh yeah, definitely could boof the tea.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, just don't inject it.
just don't inject it. Those arteries and veins are made for blood.
So I had made a prediction I'm thinking it's probably a couple months back now at this point, that as soon as Joe Biden gets in office, you're going to see pretty much zero from Black Lives Matters and that kind of racial division in the news. And you will also see COVID subside. And I don't know if you're hearing anything, but I guess some of the big lockdown proponents, Cuomo included, are talking about, all right, let's get the restaurants and bars back open again.
Sure, you're just saying that the narrative is going to change. Yeah, it's the oppositional narrative of the two-party system, right? If Trump's like, open everything up, Biden's like, bro, I'd be wearing a mask at night. And so now that now that they're in charge and the economy needs to be stimulated, yeah, I don't see any a way around that. And so, yeah, that's going to be interesting to see what the dominant narrative is. And I think it's going to be still COVID. It'll just be about getting people the vaccines, right, and some money to go along with it.
Yeah.
So are you
more than $600 this time?
Well, no, you've said that, Mark.
I'm talking about that Joe Biden money.
But no, I don't think it's. You've mentioned this. In other words, the government's now talking about incentivizing people with money for getting the vaccine as a tool to increase adoption and compliance. And if you got to get a government vaccine and it's like a virus update that you're gonna have to get with all these new variants, and they want it, so they're going to give you money for that. How is that not a universal basic income where they're basically like, well, to survive, you need this virus update on a regular basis, like a subscription to the virus software, and we'll give you money to do that. How is that not what you've kind of mentioned, like a universal basic income?
Yeah, that's it's kind of like a testing ground for it, or maybe getting. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of my friends anyway, are down to try this universal basic income idea, where you get everybody starts on an even playing field of getting I don't know what it would be, $1,000 a month, something like that, and then what you make on your own after that is taxable and whatnot. But it's to make sure that the poorest of us have something to live on.
Sure. Well, do you think a offering like that where it's incentive based is a valid approach, or do you see that as something that, separate from whether it's valid, the government's going to go, want to go that way? Or how does the government, if people believe that COVID is as dangerous as it is, how does the government protect its citizenry? You know what I'm saying? If we're the precious resource and it's hard to get the vaccine in people's hands, how's the government going to do that? I guess I'm saying without some kind of incentive. They can't, forcing people is not going to work.
Right. Carrots and sticks.
Yeah,
is
and
what they say.
And they'll do things like, hey, you can't do this or do that without proof that you either got the vaccine or you've got the virus. Those kind of things, So.
Mm-hmm. But do you want your monthly government cash? You gotta have
everything comes with a price.
You gotta, and then
what's the collar? It's like you can sleep at the guy's house and get the dog food and water, but what's the collar you got to wear? So. And
then what's Microsoft rolling out with some sort of like vaccine freedom passport?
Yeah, it was Microsoft, Oracle, and
what other unholy?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you're going to be tracked in CRM software. Hi. We've called you because it appears that your virus update software hasn't been updated in 3 days. We know that there's a COVID-19.735 variant in your sector. So we recommend you getting that. And we've dropped some like gold coins redeemable for some kind of weird online stuff in your holding box there. Should you accept those, yeah, you'll probably get you'll probably just be able to, upload the stuff directly into some kind of thumb drive into your body or something. I don't know. Elon Musk's probably using it already.
I'm going to go ahead and play the trailer from Jerry Bruckheimer's upcoming blockbuster hit, Songbird, which is like a dystopian COVID possible future.
Drop it like it's hot.
Curfew is now in effect. All unauthorized citizens must stay indoors.
There's billboards showing the death tolls. There's
A grim new reality emerges.
COVID-23 has mutated.
A
Horrifying new development
New
today.
data confirms the virus attacks the brain tissue.
All infected Americans are being forced into quarantine camps.
Sarah, what's gonna be alright.
Department of Sanitation.
Sarah, talk to me.
I think my neighbor has a fever.
It'll be so much easier if you just open the door. Mrs. Grant, the visitor.
Sorry, it's not Jerry Bruckheimer, it's Michael Bay. Song. Well, I don't know how much of that really translates to audio, but it was frightening.
Totally plausible. What'd they say? COVID-23? Yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Wouldn't be the first time we've used internment camps.
It'll be like a combination of Blade Runner meets...
The Purge meets Half Baked meets all the movies are just going to come together.
Yeah. Wow. Well, hopefully that's not how it goes down.
Okay, so the vaccine's going to be getting rolled out. People are going to be getting it. Some people won't get it. It'll take a while, and then by then what? Will it not be a thing anymore? Will we just go to the next variant of it? Will we just be like the flu used to be, where we just hang out for the summer, and then when it starts to get cold again, we start to worry about it?
Mm-hmm. So we're worried about terrorists in the summer and COVID in the winter.
This has a little bit more of a flow to it. Yeah, that's what kind of was weird last year, right? It was just flu basically for the whole year. So
Speaking of the flu, nobody got it at all this year.
Oh, so is the flu just not popular, or how does that work?
The flu is so last year. It just I don't know.
It's kind of boring. You're saying like you can call it the bird flu and this flu, and people are like whatever. But so it's really a branding thing, is what I'm hearing you say, Mark. It's really like COVID, Corona, and then COVID. It's a better name kind of thing.
Yeah, I've heard that there are still hospital. I have not fact checked this, which I don't even know where you do fact check these days anymore.
No, I saw this beautiful montage someone had put up on the internet, and this is all fact checkable. It's basically in the Guardian. It was DHS. Every year there's some article about, beds full, flu hitting really hard this year. And it was like 2011, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Just showing the same headline over and over again. This is called, in the wintertime up in the northern hemisphere, people get the flu, and it's a big deal. So it goes after the people that are most compromised and, anyway, I won't get into that. I like how we're self editing as we go here.
It's like,
No, we're doing
calm
great.
down. We can always just edit out the silence while my
Exactly. No, this is so. It just shows whether you got COVID on the brain, whether you got the virus or not. It's just in the consciousness. So, are we going to be able to? Are things going to open back up? Are things going to open back up when the weather gets nicer?
Things are going to have to open. I think enough people are gonna start seeing some of the math coming out on that the lockdown is killing more people than COVID.
Kind of like the drugs. The drugs have worse side effects than the potential benefits that they're offering. Yeah, that's what, how if this has really hurt small businesses and people are getting evicted from their homes, how long can it keep on going before you have to try something different?
Right.
Well, and I think that's what I'm saying. It's going back to your thing about Biden. I think that totally they're going to change the narrative because they're in control of it now. So they're going to be like, we got the smartest people on the job. We're going to have Amazon roll out the vaccine and deliver it to everybody so that basically by, the spring equinox, we can start having fun again. Because that's the thing, right? This whole herd immunity that somehow we're supposed to get herd immunity by all staying at home. But once we hit that magical number, then everyone's going to be safe. And then it'll be like seatbelts and cigarettes and alcohol. We're like, those are just deaths that come along with the program. And, we're accustomed to living at those.
And I don't know how many people saw this, but the CDC recently changed their definition of herd immunity. It used to be the more standard definition of when a certain percent of the population develops antibodies to something. You've reached herd immunity. Now herd immunity is reached when a certain portion of the population is vaccinated.
The software model, exactly. The guy who really came up with the whole concept of herd immunity is about 2/3, 65%, and it's been somehow moved higher. But exactly, it's not. It's how many people are updated with the virus software so they're not able to get the virus. That's how we're measuring it now. Sounds awfully like big tech.
Once again. Let's do big tech for a minute. This is the hardest time since the internet's been on to really research anything. I feel Google used to be such a great search engine. Like I could punch in what I wanted to find and I could find it. Now there's so much censorship. There's been so many people deplatformed in the name of getting rid of pseudoscience and propaganda or just incorrect info. But you also have people like Ron Paul getting kicked off of Facebook for I don't know what reason.
Well, I guess it's just they want to get you to pay for it. What now pays for Facebook? They'd say it's be about like $13 a month or something like that, right? If you're paying for the advertising that's going on there. So we're like, no, we don't want to pay. We'll do advertising instead. But then now you have these models, right? Netflix or other models where they're either commercial free or limited commercials. And those are subscriptions. And that's what they want to get you on. I mean, Amazon Prime, it's technically a subscription, right? And they can count on all those people subscribe to it every year. So that's what they want to be able to do for everybody. And so maybe this is a way for them to move from advertising somehow to getting everybody to pay for everything.
What's gonna happen though if you're losing like a huge chunk of your user base though? Like I can't remember which basketball player said it, but it was like, just so you guys know, conservatives buy Air Jordans too. You can't just alienate, 40 something percent of your user base. I don't know. Or maybe half the people don't care, and there's only like a chunk on the left that care about this and a chunk on the right that are even involved in caring about it. I don't know.
Well, I think that the government's been threatening to break up some of these bigger tech companies for way too long, and it's never really happened. And there's been all these antitrust judgments against Microsoft for a long time, how they bundled Windows with Internet Explorer. And so, with the power that they've got and how much people use them, but like you said, Mark, if you have an alternative platform, if you have if you have alternatives, people can go there. It's really the monopoly power that's given them so much control, right? So many people use Facebook. The idea of breaking it up or shutting it down, just everybody would freak out and go nuts. So I think you're sort of like way past, the ability to really regulate them, and now then you have them doing anti-free speech stuff and taking people like Ron Paul, deplatforming him off of Facebook, Twitter.
And it sounds like libertarian or free market type people are having to come to grips with how can this be handled in a way that they've railed, that's not going to be in one of the ways that they've railed against forever, like using the power of the state to bust things up. Or am I making any sense? Can you can I just redo that for me with words?
Yeah, well, it's it's just hard. It's hard to figure out. So
I guess if you're not happy about it, definitely stop using some of these companies that are involved in heavy censorship. Look at some of the alt tech that's popping up right now, and delete your Gmail. I'm in the middle of having to figure out how I even go about doing that.
Well, this is what I'm saying. Once it's so enmeshed, you can't do it. And then right in WhatsApp released recently a update to their terms showing that Facebook uses some of the personal data, which I guess they've been doing since 2016, but now they just finally updated their terms 5 years later on it. And I think people are reaching that point of how much of their personal data, their personal privacy are they comfortable with, and how much is that worth to them? So you and I could both say that if there was Facebook and you could pay for it and you didn't have the ads, right, then we'd both be willing to pay for something like that, right? If it existed and didn't have ads. The problem is for some other entity, and then plenty have come and gone, to try to do that from scratch. It's hugely challenging because it automatically becomes colonized by a particular demographic, right, trying to leverage that new free space. So it's not that, a particular platform attracts alt-right people. It's just if people aren't getting their voice heard in some place, or want an alternative, and they see it, they're going to go colonize it first, aka MySpace. It's like.
Or I know Gab is like a
free speech kind of like Twitter alternative. You're like, all right, okay, here we have a free speech Twitter, and then you might end up there and go, oh, there actually are. Turns out there actually are Nazis, and they're on the internet.
Exactly. What was that one? Was it Periscope, the one where it just like randomly connected you to people's video cams? But every 3 out of 4 was like some guy's dick. It's just like no.
Chat roulette.
This is not exactly. This is not the variability I was looking for.
There's a lot of dicks out there.
Exactly. So okay. So is Joe Biden going to last 4 years? And if not, what will his death certificate say?
Let's do some predictions.
Ascended?
No.
Turned to leather? He was able to just live on air?
Will he last 1 year?
Oh, so
let's start with that.
Wow. He is the oldest president, right? Trump was winning, and either winning, him or Trump would have been the oldest still. So he's the oldest. And So you're saying he's not even going to forget making it 4?
What was that old phrase from like maybe my parents' generation, like don't trust someone over 30 or something like that?
Oh, that was like the hippies, yeah. That was like the hippies, man. That was, What was that movie where you had that thing around your neck and then your head exploded when you were 30? And wait. I'm gonna out myself. Is it Logan's Run?
Logan's
Run?
Was Schwarzenegger or
no? And I think it was somebody like way older anyway. So
Omega Man. Am I combining things here?
So So what will his death certificate read? If he doesn't make it through this term?
COVID.
Oh, COVID. Okay.
Yeah.
He's gonna die
the
from
new
COVID.
Mutation.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
So like the Ascension mutation.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, so like this is kind of what you were talking about earlier, where it's not just to stop the bad stuff that's happening; it's to give you some good stuff. So will that also simultaneously like download his consciousness, upload it into Skynet, and save him in the online Google Drive in the sky?
And the Illuminati will have you like sacrifice yourself on the way out pretty much as well. Once you've no longer can serve your use anymore, you sacrifice yourself.
Yeah. Or will it be like The Simpsons where they keep everyone's head in the thing? So, the presidents will still stay around and stuff. They won't be able to rule on anything, but like, the next president could go into the room and talk to the head of Joe Biden and, ask for advice and stuff like that.
They've already had the top of that guy's head open a couple times.
Does that putting hardware in or taking hardware out?
Maybe a little bit
of
both.
A little bit of both. Well, that's when you're in on the machine.
Little column A,
exactly.
A little column B.
Hey, your water pump's a little old. Let's just replace that while we're in there. So okay, so that would be fitting. So is he gonna free the weed in his term?
I'm thinking no.
Yeah. The MORE Act descheduling's passed the House.
Maybe Kamala, and she gets super cool hit points.
Oh, you think you're saying that would be something
under
that'll
be like under
like the deathbed thing. Hey, I'm dying here. I'm about to ascend with the COVID program, and you get to free the weed. Since
she's just I don't think she's very likable, and people know that she was a prosecutor. She's put nonviolent criminals away for weed. Maybe this could be her redemption.
The next day
move.
She comes out with like dreadlocks, right?
Uh-huh.
And she's like,
"Don't worry about a thing."
Commander in Chief, bro.
Yeah, Kamala.
Wow. Okay. So. Yeah, never saw that one coming. Okay, so not making it through the first term, dying because of COVID. Yeah, that one's. But if he's getting if like Trump got all the good meds right, and he had the latest, he didn't have the mRNA vaccine back then. But if Joe's such a good rule follower on all that stuff, how's he going to get COVID, or is it just going to be one of these new variants we didn't see coming?
He's gonna get it from one of his one of his Secret Service guys who is a QAnon plant.
Oh, I thought you were gonna.
I don't know if you saw any of that. They were saying they were like they were going through security for the inauguration to make sure that they weren't they were vetting doing extra vetting.
They sent a couple National Guards men or women home.
Right.
I think just men, but
which QAnon, and I also said this not too long ago. I'm pretty sure it's some big psyop, CIA born. I don't know, whatever the new CIA subsect is out there.
Project Buffalo Shaman.
Yeah, exactly. Do you want to tell people in case they don't know Buffalo Shaman?
Yeah, Jake, which is not his real name, I think, right? But isn't it Jacob? But Jake Angeli, and now it turns out this, as they dig deeper, he's a veteran, was offering himself as some sort of, wow, my ears are totally ringing. Hold on, it's Jake trying to talk to me.
Cosmic Buffalo Shaman downloads.
Oh, hold on. Hold on, exactly.
So this guy was at the Capitol during the recent domestic terrorist.
He had the best face paint of anybody.
DC.
He had the best face paint, fur hat, and animal horns, and tattoos.
And they're up in there wrecking havoc and smoking weed on Nancy Pelosi's desk. Where were we with Buffalo Shaman? How did we get on?
See, he's got you too, Mark.
Smoking those MAGA mids.
So, wow, I think we were trying to decide. What were we trying to decide?
I don't even remember how we got on Buffalo Shaman.
A Buffalo Shaman.
Fighting in America.
Making. Oh, I need to find something that writes for or rhymes with arrival. Busted on arrival. Yeah. How do you people riot when there's cameras and security cameras everywhere?
And then I don't know if you saw, but I saw multiple videos looking like the cops kind of part ways and usher the protesters, rioters, whatever you want to call them, in. Just come on in, guys. Go fuck some shit up.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they're telling Facebook, go ahead and don't delete any video you have from today.
Yeah.
We're going to need that later.
Well, these guys are all going to jail, right? Anybody who was in there and touched any object on federal grounds. I've not read the, monument statute that President Trump signed while he was in office to ostensibly protect other kinds of monuments, right? But these people, could all be prosecuted under federal law and get 10 years in prison. Mm-hmm. I mean, how's that going to help you in the prison yard, bro? How's that going to work for you?
From some of the talking heads that kind of punishment wouldn't be enough. Somebody one of the gals on The View said, these are domestic terrorists and they need to go to Guantanamo.
Oh, God. Let's not start calling each other terrorists. That's what the lizards want.
Okay,
yes,
it's
exactly
what the lizards want.
That's what fundamentalism's about. You just start attacking your own kind, saying you're not pure and right enough.
Yes,
you must die.
Yeah, or with COVID, I've heard they're using some of this religious language like, you're a COVID denier.
Ooh.
We must shun the
Wait.
believers.
Have you heard the good news of COVID? No, not COVID, the vaccines. I'm here.
I'm here to talk about the good news of Moderna.
Moderna? Wait. He's like a cool he's like a cool like Jesus guy, but he's just got a cooler name because you got to have a cool name if you're going to be a pharmaceutical in the 21st century.
I thought I would be clever, and I just got into bought my first stock during COVID, and I'm like, you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna invest in the reptilians. How can you lose?
Spread your bets out.
Yeah, no, the
you can buy
the
reptilians.
Moderna stock.
Do you have to? Is the rep
shit?
Oh, it is. Okay.
Well,
Is that on the reptilian exchange though, or
it's
is
like as soon as they rolled it out, you know, before maybe it's even rolled out, they start talking about now it's mutating, and I'm sure the
so it's kind of a lost leader. Build the hype.
It's like,
It's
did
like
you
a
guys
pump
have
and dump scheme. Build the hype, and then it starts to drop, and then they're like, there's a new scare, so they release a new update.
Yeah, I was not ahead of the times with my investment. I missed the boat apparently.
Well, you could be in for the long play and just
Hang on.
Oh.
Hang on for wave wave 7 or 8.
Exactly. It's wow. So what I'm hearing is we're gonna try to get back to work, but there's no way. There's no way you're gonna. I can't see us reaching. What's the best we could hope for people to either have a vaccine in the U.S. or have the antibodies from having it at the end of the year? Because this is going back to the herd immunity, right? In other words, this is okay. The challenge is that it's more efficient for people to not do the quarantine and do the staycation and everyone do like we used to do, the old everyone get together and spread it and get herd immunity, than all sit at home and try to stay in quarantine mode forever while people are losing their houses and jobs. So my point is just like, how many people are going to get the vaccine by the end of the year?
How many people are going to get both rounds of the vaccine?
Sure, I'll even take just one. I'm just saying, they couldn't. How long did it take the government to send everyone that they wanted to a check? Just a check, same thing. It's like it took months and months and months. So I just don't see, if people are not being forced or incentivized to use it, and it's having a slow rollout. How are you going? And people are refusing it, and some healthcare workers are refusing it. So how are you going to basically get people? Okay, when I was the pharmaceutical rep for Pfizer, the biggest challenge for any drug wasn't any of the drug's characteristics; it was compliance. So they'd be like, "Hey, this is all we want to sell: drugs that are once a day versus 3 times a day because the compliance is much better." How are you going to get compliant? How are you going to get any kind of compliance in a year of where it hasn't totally mutated? Where you're going to get any kind of herd immunity? It's going to be more like everyone's running Windows 98, but we're on to a new version of the software, and they're just constantly trying to get the old people to upgrade. I've been here before.
Definitely get the upgrade right before you die, and sign your do not resuscitate form.
Oh yeah, do not clone my consciousness. Yeah,
do not upload me?
Yeah, well, once you get that mRNA virus in you, what stops it from copying all your DNA, which is 650 megabytes? Your DNA is 650 megabytes. It'll fit on a CD. Okay, so what's the mRNA's vaccines? What's stopping it from collecting all that stuff? And then what's South Park when the satellite came out of Cartman's butt? And then uploading that shit to a Skynet. So hopefully Mark has some video here showing exactly what I was thinking.
Can you run that back one more time?
Okay, so where was I?
I
don't remember anything.
What's to stop the
okay, so
mRNA messenger RNA thing from?
So the vaccine in China is made the old-fashioned way, where they get the virus and they kill it, and then they put it in a chicken egg. In the U.S., we've got this mRNA virus, which is basically software that's injected into you, and then it forces the DNA inside your cells. It forces your cells to produce these proteins. And so what I'm saying is, since your DNA entirely of what compromises you is 650 megabytes, what's this mRNA virus what's stopping it from being able to copy your stuff and then upload it at night while you're sleeping? I don't know, Bluetooth, satellite, whatever, to Skynet. I mean, isn't that what Bill Gates wants? Doesn't he want your DNA, Mark?
And then
It's about springs. They want to. They
And
want to.
then
It makes
according
sleeping really
to,
comfortable. If you sleep on people's DNA, it's the best sleep you've ever had.
Okay.
Like DNA bed
and
springs.
Skynet is going to be put in place, according to David Icke, by Elon Musk. The space program, mission to Mars, is just a joke, and really they're just going to be dropping. They need to like grid the whole sky with satellites so that they can bring in. They need Wi-Fi everywhere on every square inch of the planet, as Elon Musk's.
Got it. So you
opens up the Matrix
Got it.
sub-reality.
You'll just be uploading it
World-
all
yeah.
the time. You'll
It's
just be-
like World of Warcraft. Okay, it's probably not like World of Warcraft, but you get the idea.
Yeah, it seems like the future is like psychedelic in itself, man. It takes you down a rabbit hole just trying to think about it. What's going to happen?
I don't know if the X-Files music made that more credible sounding or less credible sounding.
Oh, beautiful. Okay, so who knew that when we did that first podcast, I thought, well, we'll do some COVID crap and then we'll move on from there, right? But it was just COVID,
Yeah,
COVID, COVID.
Would you think we were? Would you have thought we were still in COVID
Dude.
mode when we
Dude.
first did that first show?
No fucking way.
Yeah, I remember. I think it was a British politician that said when they were first talking about 2 weeks of shutdown, they ran the numbers then, and they were like, if we do this any longer than this, the damage that's being done is going to be infinitely more damage than what the virus will do.
Yeah, I think that's all modern pharmaceuticals
We're
pretty much
talking
fall in that category.
Suicides, depression, domestic violence,
Absolutely.
people-
Lack of vitamin D, lack of social contact,
right?
natural immunity from
cancer,
interacting with each
cancer
other.
patients that aren't able to, that are kind of getting backburnered,
Yeah.
like on and on.
Opiate patients, yeah.
Oh yeah, like look at the overdose numbers, the overdose deaths in California versus.
Yeah, versus
Yeah.
COVID, exactly. So that this is the power of COVID. It dominates the narrative, and then whether you got it or not, you're talking about it all the time.
Swimming pool deaths.
We'll try to
Prob-
do two things
Well, do you have any parting words before?
No,
we
dude. I
wrap
think
this
I
up?
think we've had a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah.
We talked about multiple variants of COVID. We talked about different kinds of vaccines, and yeah, because I think we're going to be talking more about that.
Buffalo Shaman.
Coming from the Southland. No, can't say that.
And he peed on Nancy Pelosi's desk.
It's hard to freestyle rap reggae. It's too slow. You have way too much time to think.